Hi everyone, and welcome to the Player Review Team channel. Today, you're in for what is probably the most detailed video on fc25 tips and mechanics you'll find on YouTube. This in-depth research covers the most useful techniques, from attacking play to defending your own goal, from shooting and passing to controlling your goalkeeper, and much more. And stick around until the end, because we'll also share some valuable tips that will improve your gameplay and help you win more matches. In addition, we're giving away weekend league boosts and 25 million coins among our subscribers. Yes, you heard that right, 25 million. So make sure to watch this video until the end to find out all the details. Let's get into it. And to get straight to the point, let's start with shooting. First, we need to talk about the importance of the driven shot, which was introduced quite recently. This playstyle allows you to score almost every shot inside the box with ease. Plus, it's very simple to execute. To perform a driven shot, just tap the shoot button as if you were making a short pass. That means a quick light press of the button. Right now, this is the most effective way to score. By the way, even players without this playstyle can score using this technique. However, it works best for those with gold-driven shot, or at least silver-driven shot. This shot consistently breaks goalkeeper animations. They often let the ball slip underneath them or even fall backward helplessly. Additionally, you can use it from outside the box as shown in this example, making it even more useful. So, make sure to use this shot as often as possible. It's the new meta. At the beginning of the year, Power Shot Plus was extremely effective, easily beating most goalkeepers from long range regardless of their stats. However, after several patches, you now need to take shots from closer range. Still, this shot remains effective if the player does not have driven shot. Let's quickly remind you how to perform it. Hold both L1 plus R1 and shoot. The key is to aim accurately since this shot is manual. The ball will go exactly where you direct the left stick. But here's a trick. You can enable the trajectory display as seen in these examples. This feature makes life much easier. To activate it, simply pause the game at the start, scroll down, and select Trainer, where you can adjust various elements. Keep in mind that in Rivals, not all options are available. However, if you first enter squad battles and adjust the trainer settings there, the shot trajectory will also appear in Rivals, even if it's not available in the settings. Most importantly, this helps you learn timed finishing faster, which significantly improves your shots. Just enable the timed finishing indicator in the trainer and activate timed finishing in the game settings. This way, a timing bar will appear above your player. You press shoot once, the bar appears, and then press again in the green zone for maximum power and accuracy. Try using the trainer settings at least in squad battles. Once you master the timing, you can disable the bar and keep only the timed finishing setting. Just look at this powerful shot by Saint-Maximin, and this is his standard rare card with just 72 shooting. Simply put, timed finishing greatly improves results, even when playing with a weaker squad. Also, don't forget to use it for free kicks. First, the slow animation makes it easier to time correctly. Second, it significantly increases your chances of scoring. Now that we've covered timed finishing, let's talk about Trivela shots, which have made a comeback this year. A Trivela is performed by holding L2. Ideally, your player should have at least silver Trivela. You can still score Trivelas with players who don't have the playstyle but have strong shooting stats, as long as you shoot from closer range. And if you use timed finishing, you can even score with fullbacks from tight angles, as shown here. However, if a player doesn't have the Trivela playstyle, it's best to shoot as close to the edge of the box as possible, like in this clip. For players with at least silver Trivela, the ball travels much faster. Just look at this example. The key is to position your player properly before shooting, as seen in these clips. Ideally, they should be facing the goal at a slight angle. In general, the half space is the best area for these shots, so make use of it. Another tip. Perform a ball roll before shooting to improve positioning and automatically avoid a potential block from a defender. At this stage, the Trivela shot is one of the most overpowered mechanics in the game, alongside the driven shot. Again, you can consistently score these even with players who lack the Trivela playstyle, as long as they have high shot power and long shots like Bale. Additionally, timed finishing is crucial for Trivelas. It ensures consistency and allows you to score even from long range. One more thing, Trivela shots have increased shot speed when taken at full sprint or while using R1 dribbling, technical dribbling. With gold technical dribbling, these shots become even more effective when taken right after sprinting with R1. In reality, Trivelas are a very easy way to score and can be learned quickly, so make sure to use them. Another shooting technique worth using is gold finesse shots, which can be taken from almost any position. Ideally, your player should have gold finesse shot and 5-star weak foot. This year, finesse shots are extremely effective, especially when combined with timed finishing. As a reminder, a finesse shot is performed by holding R1. Even players with silver finesse shot can score them if timed correctly. However, silver finesse shots should only be taken from inside the box, not from long range. On the other hand, if a player has gold finesse shot but only 4-star weak foot, avoid shooting from long range with their weak foot as it is more affected by distance. This year, timed finishing plays a key role. Even top-tier cards can struggle without it, which is why we often recommend it to everyone. But what if your ping prevents you from timing shots properly, or you just can't get used to it? Simple, change the shooting assistance setting to precision. This way, you can score without timed finishing. Just look at these silver finesse shots, they fly perfectly. Interestingly, with this setting, silver finesse shots are actually more accurate than when using timed finishing. That means silver finesse shots without timing are more precise with the precision setting than with timed finishing. With the precision setting, you can score long-range finesse shots more consistently, so definitely give it a try, especially if you have a silver finesse shot card. However, for silver Trivela shots, timed finishing is still the better option, even with precision enabled. Additionally, enabling this setting displays an aiming arrow under the player, which is useful for power shots. Just be careful with regular shots inside the box. You need to aim toward the goal manually, or you'll see results like this. In short, get used to the fact that your shots will now fully depend on your aiming. Wherever you point the arrow, that's where the ball will go. But mastering this mechanic will improve your long shots, including finesse shots and standard shots. On the other hand, if you don't plan to use long shots and prefer to pass the ball around for the perfect opportunity, then keep shooting assistance on automatic. After the big patch, scoring inside the box has become significantly easier. Before we continue, we'd like to thank our subscribers. Your feedback under our videos always motivates us and shows that we're heading in the right direction. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure to join us. We create the best player reviews and comparisons with in-depth analysis. Definitely worth checking out. Don't forget, there's a coin giveaway at the end of the video. Now, let's talk about a feature that was introduced in the previous version of the game but has now become even more effective and easier to master. Of course, we're talking about Speed Boost. To perform it, hold L1 to completely slow down your player. Shift slightly, then release L1 and quickly press Sprint R2. If timed correctly, you'll get an explosive burst of acceleration from a standstill that is nearly impossible to counter. Speed Boost works best with agile and explosive players, ideally those with the quick step and rapid playstyles. Even better if they have the gold versions of these traits. Based on our experience and experiences of our weekend league boosters, quick step is the more important playstyle. For example, take a look at this clip with Adeyemi. As you can see, the player doesn't necessarily need to be facing the direction of the acceleration. Simply put, this is still one of the most meta mechanics in the game, so be sure to use it. Now let's discuss another highly useful feature, Trickster. Trickster helps not only with one-on-one dribbling, but also with setting up better shooting angles. To perform this move, your player needs at least the base Trickster trait. Once that's covered, simply perform a fake shot and move the left stick in the desired direction. A fake shot is executed by quickly pressing the shoot plus pass or cross plus pass buttons. You can even spam this trick move repeatedly, confusing your opponent in the process. This mechanic is extremely effective, so pay attention to players who have the Trickster trait. Again, Trickster can be useful for setting up finesse shots and more, as shown in this example. Continuing with dribbling mechanics, we need to revisit micro-dribbling, which is performed by holding L1. Last year this mechanic was nerfed, but now it's back to being just as relevant as it was in FIFA 23. L1 is perfect for baiting opponents. Take this example. We see the opponent switching to Van Dijk, who is about to rush toward us. We hold L1 and move backward, successfully baiting the center back and avoiding the tackle. The more agile and technical the player, the better L1 dribbling will work, so it may take some time to get used to the animations of certain players. But make sure to incorporate L1 into your gameplay. It will be useful in many situations. Plus, it's an essential component of Speed Boost. Another useful trick is R1 plus a quick flick in any direction on the right stick. Here's how it works. You move straight, then quickly press R1 and flick the right stick left or right. This triggers a fast turn animation with the ball. It's an effective and simple skill move, so be sure to add it to your arsenal. Classic crosses from the corner to your central player's head will help. Before crossing, press L1 to select a player in the penalty area. Hold the cross button at half power or slightly less to send the ball to the near post. Then, the main thing is to get ahead of your opponent, meaning position yourself in front to be the first on the ball for an effective shot. However, now bicycle kicks are more effective. That is, during a cross, hold L2, adjust to the ball, and press the shoot button. This works especially well with tall players and the acrobatic playstyle. moving from corner crosses to other passes, specifically long ball passes. This mechanic is just as effective as last year. The main thing is to hit the timing of the running player so they don't get caught offside. Trigger your striker's run by pressing L1 while making sure the left stick is directed toward the player you're sending forward. Then, wait for the right moment, pass to the player, and perform a lob-through pass using L1 plus triangle. This allows you to easily send your players into a one-on-one with the keeper, making it easier to beat most opponents. Also, don't forget to trigger runs from your central midfielders or even defenders, since AI defenders react to them more slowly, which you should take advantage of. Furthermore, even players without the playstyle can execute long passes, though not as effectively as those with a gold playstyle. That said, from a short distance, any player can a long pass just fine. In short, this is a highly useful and effective move. At the same time, don't forget about the gold long passes from the CDM position to the wing for a quick attack, which is especially useful for formations with wide wingers. A couple of tips: don't use full power on long passes or the ball will travel too far. Another trick is the long ball pass using the cross button and L1. It works exactly like a normal long pass, but you press L1 plus cross in the direction of the player. This lets you better control the pass power and the ball flies slightly higher, making it even harder to intercept. Here's a great example. The goalkeeper gets the ball. In the middle of the field, we see our cam and striker. The goalkeeper throws the ball hard toward the cam, and as the ball is in the air, we immediately press L1 toward the striker, making him start a run. Then, we perform a first touch long pass while holding L1 and press a cross button. If the timing is perfect, we get a one-on-one with the opponent's goal, which is easy to convert. Another effective move from last year is the L1 plus R1 plus triangle pass, which triggers a powerful incisive pass for a running player. Very useful for wing play. By the way, pay attention to how the left stick is pressed, but at the very last moment, just before the player touches the ball, the direction changes, and the ball goes exactly where it was intended. Keep this in mind. Here's a good example where we try to build out from defense using a pinged pass. As you can see, the stick is pressed downward, but the defender's animation drags, making him take more time on the pass. At the same time, we slightly change the stick direction, and now the ball goes to a different player. So, always hold the correct direction and don't release the stick until the player fully passes the ball. Otherwise, if you accidentally change direction, the pass might go somewhere else. Even after a big patch, incisive passes work worse for players without a playstyle. For example, in this clip, incisive pass is needed, but as you see, it's heavily cut off. Or look at this pass trajectory. As you see, it's completely straight. Sometimes that's good, but it's better to use L2 and a through pass. This way, the ball gets curved and reaches the target more consistently. This is useful for both low-driven switches to the wing and through balls for central runs. In short, practice L2 through passes instead of regular triangle passes. At the same time, the gold incisive pass works exceptionally well on first touch, like in these clips. The concept is the same as with long ball passes. The key is to spot your runner or trigger them manually, then press triangle in their direction. The most important thing is to hit the timing perfectly, and you're guaranteed a one-on-one chance. Don't forget the importance of manual passing, especially manual crossing. For example, when receiving the ball deep on the wing, hold R1 plus the cross button at max power and manually aim the stick toward your target player. This allows you to switch play across the entire field to the opposite wing. Again, this is useful for wide formations. After the kickoff in midfield, you can attempt something similar to a kickoff long ball using a center back with good passing, but this doesn't always work consistently. By the way, a popular play from goal kicks now is to pass between center backs, or you can lob the ball with a single center back. The key is to spot your strikers run in time, allowing you to reward them with a pass like this. However, it's better to aim slightly toward the wing, as this reduces the goalkeeper's chances of intercepting your pass. Speaking of goalkeepers, don't forget to use manual crossing when building out from the back through the keeper when your opponent is pressing you high. Another useful trick is the automatic driven cross. By double tapping the cross button, you activate a parallel curved pass that is very difficult to intercept. This is extremely useful for wing attacks. And finally, perhaps the most valuable pass using skill cancel, the Nutmeg Pass. This is incredibly useful on the wing, in the half spaces, and even in unexpected situations. Here's how to do it. While moving forward, quickly press both top bumpers, L1 plus R1, and push the right stick in the direction you want to turn. Ideally, you should press it 90 degrees left or right relative to your movement. Then, during the feint animation, push the left stick in your desired direction and press the pass button. This cancels the skill move and executes a pass instead. The main advantage of this move is the speed of its animation and the fact that you can perform it while running, meaning you don't need to slow down for a successful execution. That said, this isn't the easiest skill move to perform, and it requires practice. However, you shouldn't underestimate it, as it is highly effective both inside the penalty area and just outside it. In short, we highly recommend mastering this move if you haven't been using it yet. To level up your skill even further, don't forget to use Player Lock, which can also be enabled in the game settings. Once activated, you can control the player you want to pass to by pressing L3 plus R3 simultaneously. A special icon will appear above the player. Then, use the right stick to select the player you want to switch to. Now, the AI controls the player with the ball while you request a pass at any moment, confusing your opponent. Again, this is an underrated mechanic that many players don't use. The key is to push the right stick precisely to the center to avoid an unwanted flick or miscontrol. Another important point, Player Lock works best in wide formations, where players are spaced apart rather than close together. The more space between them, the better. At least, we recommend starting to use this mechanic in a wide formation, especially with wide attacking wingers. This will make it much easier to master. As you can see, there are many ways to use this mechanic in the game, so be sure to practice it yourself. Also, don't forget to use Directed Runs. When you have the ball, press L1 to make the nearest player start a straight run. You'll see him raise his hand. Then, use the right stick to direct where he should move, making his run more effective for receiving a pass. By the way, the indicator under the player only appears if you manually enable it in trainer settings. As mentioned earlier in the video, these green arrows are visible only to you, not your opponent. That's why this is another powerful mechanic that will help break down even strong opponents. Plus, your opponent won't be able to predict your AI player's movements since they can't see these green arrows. But most importantly, don't forget to pass the ball. Football is a team sport after all. Sure, fc25 isn't exactly real football, but it's trying hard and making progress. For example, the latest major patch improved passing for players without playstyles. Playstyles still have an edge, but even without them, you can play quick, high-quality short passes. So, look for teammates on the field instead of always trying to dribble forward alone. Additionally, you can constantly trigger runs to confuse your opponent and use classic parallel passes from the wing to the center during an attack. When moving down the near flank, always look for a parallel pass upfield. These passes are difficult to react to, both for human opponents and AI defenders. Speaking of AI, the defensive AI isn't as bad after the patch as some say. Just don't overcommit your center backs and leave open spaces and you'll be fine. Now a few words about cutbacks, moving from the flank into the box. Cutbacks still work after the patch, although they're not as meta as before. The key now is that you have to do more manually. Reminder, a cutback is when you cut inside from the flank into the penalty area to play a parallel pass to an open teammate. Previously, players made these runs automatically, but now you need to use L1 to trigger their movement. For example, in this situation, our target player is marked, but by pressing L1, he starts making an active run, which we can then take advantage of. As for defending, just like last year, you should use double pressing. Press R1 once to send a teammate to pressure the ball, hold R1 the second time to activate tight marking with two defenders, making it much harder for opponents to score via cutbacks. Finally, let's talk about goalkeepers. There's a saying, a good goalkeeper is worth half the team. In fc25, that's absolutely true. Try to pick goalkeepers not just with high ratings but with gold playstyles for saves or sweeping. As we know, pressing and holding the right stick activates manual goalkeeper control. However, this year, the keeper can only take 1 or 2 steps to the side, so keep that in mind when manually saving shots. Also, holding the triangle button, Y on Xbox, rushes the keeper out of goal. If he has a gold rush out playstyle, he will do this faster and more effectively. However, the double tap triangle mechanic works differently now. Pressing it twice and holding makes the goalkeeper approach the attacker more cautiously, without committing fully. This is an interesting trick, but the animation is slow, so it's unlikely to help against top opponents. Still, it's worth knowing about. Now, let's talk about a bit of dirty play. First of all, we are against any kind of toxicity, but this trick is 100% football related, so it's definitely worth using. As you might have guessed, we're talking about tactical fouls, which can sometimes save you from conceding a goal. This is especially useful during your own corners. For example, in this situation, a failed corner leads to the opponent gaining possession. We can't catch up with him, and at the same time, we notice a player making a dangerous counter-attacking run about to receive a pass. By pressing our 1+ pass button, we foul the striker, stopping the counter-attack and taking a yellow card, which isn't too big of a deal. Besides, sometimes fouls don't even get called, like in this moment, which is pretty strange but works in our favor. Another tip, this will be especially useful for PlayStation 5 players. If you feel like your opponent is faster, it doesn't always mean they have better reaction time or are simply a better player. Sometimes it's due to a higher refresh rate. For example, Xbox can run at 120 Hz, PCs at 120, 240 Hz, and even up to 480 Hz, while PlayStation is limited to 60 Hz. What does that give us? If we dig into the technical side, this reduces monitor input lag from 15 milliseconds to 2 to 5 milliseconds, allowing you to gain over 10 milliseconds. And trust me, that really matters. That's why it makes sense to turn off crossplay in the game settings, at least for important weekend league matches. While we're on the topic of monitors, it's worth mentioning that OLED and QD-OLED monitors have the best response times on the market. Nothing is faster. All monitors with VA and IPS panels claiming 1 millisecond are misleading. In reality, their response times are far, and then comes a chart. There's a great website called rthings.com. Go there and check your monitor. And this is not an advertisement, but just advice. I'd like to share my example, a quick monitor choice I made about 3 years ago. After a quick Google search, many recommended the Gigabyte M32U monitor, 1 millisecond, 144 Hz. Looks great on paper, but in reality, here are the panel response times at 60 Hz and even 120 Hz, and it doesn't look that fast. But manufacturers still claim 1 millisecond using the GTG, gray-to-gray testing method. This refers to non-realistic conditions. Only a shade of gray is changing, which brings up the question, maybe we should use a kit and ball that match the field color to get better response times. Well, who knows? Also, don't forget about ping and finding the best ISP in your city, and figure out what time of day your gameplay is best. Usually, it's evening or night, but yours might be different. Don't buy cheap routers. They have weak CPUs and little memory. If you have many devices connected at home, they can overload the processor and negatively impact performance. Don't forget to restart your router from time to time. Ideally, have a dedicated line for your console. Never play over Wi-Fi. Always use a cable. Nearby Wi-Fi routers and devices can cause interference. This is really important because you won't get far in a swamp, so pay attention to responsiveness, how fast and sharply your players react to your button presses on the gamepad. If you notice a large delay, it's better to postpone the session and do something else for a while. Also, you can use hand cooling fans to reduce moisture buildup during intense matches. They are costs around 10 to 20 euros. And yes, they really help keep your hands comfortable. At this point, we've reached the topic of psychology. And sure, we can say, don't forget about real life and so on. But let's be honest, we're all a little obsessed with FIFA, and that's hard to deny. However, it's important to learn how to feel the balance and not let your in-game results spill over into real life. The main thing is to decide for yourself what's more important, results or enjoying the game. Unfortunately, it's very hard to have both. If you get enjoyment specifically from results, you'll have to put in a lot of effort to reach a truly high level of play. And of course, this video will help you with that. But if you don't want the game to feel like work, try not to focus on results as the defining factor. For example, many people enjoy collecting cards and building squads of their childhood favorite clubs, including icons, heroes, etc. Maybe you'll find something more interesting than constantly chasing the best squad and results. That's probably a good place to wrap it up. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up if the information was helpful. That way, you'll help support the channel's growth. Now, about the giveaway, we're giving away 25 million coins and 5 weekend league boosts over the next 4 months while fc25 is still active. To enter, you must be subscribed to our channel and follow the instructions on our Twitter. We'll be going live on YouTube to draw the winners in real time. All giveaway details will be pinned in our Twitter, and future giveaways will also take place there. You can also support us by ordering a weekend league boost or buying coins at a cheap price. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to check out our in-depth player reviews. We assure you, no one does reviews like us. Thanks to everyone who watched till the end. See you in the next video.